Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of the Empowered Choices podcast, brought to you from the Yenkasa podcast studio. Today I have with me some amazing youth advocates championing disability issues, gender equality, and reproductive health. I'll give them the opportunity to introduce themselves. From my immediate left.
Okay, let me say ladies first, but why not? So my name is Asamoah Aladeji. I'm a university student currently level 300, reading economics and statistics. I also happen to be privileged to be a volunteer for this very institution, Planned Parenthood Association of Ghana, a youth wing British Youth Action Movement. And dare me say, I'm also an aspirant for University of Ghana as a presidential with Aladeji Asamoah as the name. Thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome, Alan.
Thank you.
I'm Evelyn from the GFD, which is the Ghana Federation of Disability Organization. Okay. And I also work at the Youth Employment Agency at Snungwa Crow. And I'm very grateful for having this opportunity to be here with you people.
You're welcome, Evelyn. And you know that after this episode, start employing some of us.
Okay, hi, my name is Precious Ofori. I'm a member of the Youth Advisory Board for MSI Reproductive Choices. I am in the University of Media, Arts and Communication Institute of Journalism, offering communication studies and majoring in journalism.
You're all welcome.
Thank you.
We know that today's episode is going to be very interactive and very exciting. We know that persons living with disability often face significant barriers when it comes to accessibility, when it comes to information, and a whole lot. I know that you have some juicy experiences to share here, and I know that people who watch this podcast or even listen to this podcast will take something from it. So we just dive straight into the conversation, and then we have some exciting time here in the studio. We'd like to start by knowing some of the problems, some of the challenges people living with disability face when it comes to access. What kind of challenges do they face? I would like to start with you, Evelyn.
Okay, thank you for your question. Okay, for the accessibility, is always about our companies and our hospitals. To me, my experience, always I use myself as an example because I am also one, or I am a victim of that. I've been to a workplace before, searching for a job. I completed my senior high school in the year 2013. Okay. I started searching for a job. And any place I go in to search for a job, they just tell you that there's a staircase, you can't climb, you can't walk on it, so you need to go home. I would be like, why? But I climbed it before coming in. So why are you telling me now that I can't climb?
Literally, it's already excluding you from. Okay.
So I'll just be like, nah, I can work if you give me the opportunity.
Yeah.
But they'll just tell you, no, you can't work because there's a staircase. Me too, I don't want to pressure you. I said, okay. Secondly, at the hospital, I've been to hospital and I'm having a little girl, 3 years. My own daughter, 3 years, baby, and I can't carry her around the hospital because she's not feeling well. So when we got there, it's like there's a staircase. Still, we need to still work on it. I was just asking, please, who is going to help me to carry my baby? Because with me alone, I can. But with my baby, I can't.
You cannot.
So I just asked a nurse to help me. It's like, this is a reason why we have been telling people that when you are coming, you come along with your assistant. And I said, no. It doesn't mean that I'm not feeling well, and if I come to the hospital, still we have wheelchairs. So you can just tell me, oh, Evelyn, okay, fine. We'll then give you a wheelchair or your baby a wheelchair. We then push the baby for you, so that you follow back. And I said, why am I the one to tell them what to do at their hospitals? Yeah. So a lot of persons with disability faces a lot when they go to places that the accessibilities are very, very
So literally it means that our infrastructures are not built enough to accommodate persons living with disability, which is so bad, or which we have failed as a system, or even as a country. Even policies that are there that protect, or even has sections of it that says that infrastructure should be at least more accessible, or should be made to suit people living with disability so that they can have access to this. Imagine someone living with disability wants to access healthcare, wants something from the hospital, and then the entire hospital is built with no elevator. It's just a case that the person cannot cross over, jump over. It means that the person cannot access that healthcare. Let me hear from you, Precious.
I don't know. Listening to her experience, I'm a bit emotional. I don't know.
Don't be. That's why you are here.
Yes, I am. But yes, it is well. You're well. So many hospitals, like from her experience, do not have ramps and then elevators, just like you mentioned. I think one of the things we should do is that, in as much as we are building hospitals for individuals and human beings, we have people living with disabilities. So one thing that I think should be included in their building of these things is ramps. That sloping surface that connects, buildings together.
Yes, to make it easy for them.
To make it easy for them, because some of these experiences in a way is like an impediment to them having access to healthcare and those kind of things. Like, this is not emotional. I don't know what to say.
Don't be emotional. It's all part of the thing. That's why we are here as young people, to discuss some of the issues that people living with disability face, so that we can amplify voices. Exactly. We can advocate for inclusive policies. We can advocate for policies that make infrastructure suitable and accessible for persons living with disability to use. Alan, let me hear from you.
Okay, so with regards to this very issue, I'm going to say majority, based on the question you asked, majority of the people or institutions that we have that happen to be in Ghana disregard the needs of those
people living with disability. True.
Right from our very schools to our institutions to work to hospital. I just said hospitals. It's very, even people are supposed to disregard them. Hospitals shouldn't be one in no sense. But I realize, because of the country we happen to find ourselves in and the kind of level of reasoning that we happen to have, you get it. So it affects our thinking, our mental capacity, and I say this with no disrespect. But over time, I don't know if I'm overstepping or I'm answering the question, but over time, we realize that some institutions, most especially the universities, like Ghana Telecom, GTU, University of Ghana, Cambridge, you realize that majority of the buildings that they are building, they are improvising this system to suit the needs of the
students. My school, for example, KNUST, it has all the accessibility, but every person living with disability can go to class, can go to the hospital. Yes, and that makes me to another point, dispelling myths. So we are dispelling some myths here. We hear some misconceptions around people living with disability that they are not engaged in romantic relationships. Yes, that's people
serious.
Say in quotes. Sorry to say, they say that yari. Also, person uni be exactly. They don't make them feel comfortable. How is that like?
It is true. I've been using myself as an example every day. I went to a physically challenged school. But in my basic to GHS, I went to a normal school. And in my normal school, I've never spoken in class. Because I'm afraid that when I speak in class,
people come for you.
People then laugh and all that. So I don't speak in class. When I got to Form 3, which is GSS 3, I started mingling small with friends. When I moved in, I got a Nungwa secondary, but it was a white lady who was taking care of me. So he said, the woman said, no, Evelyn, you need to do IT. I wanted to do this thing, law.
Yeah.
I wanted to do law.
Okay.
I wanted to be a lawyer. So I said I want to be a lawyer. He said no.
Your
Evelyn,
honor.
yeah. He said Evelyn, no, you have to do this in IT.
Okay.
So she then changed my school to like a disability school for me. So when I got there, it was like, first I feel shy a lot.
Yeah.
I can't talk in public because I'm a person with disability.
Yeah.
Because there is these two words that I don't like when people use for me.
Okay.
When they will say, she said, where we there? Said on Sunni Mukra. I hate those words.
Yeah.
So I'm afraid to like talk in public because I'm afraid that people will use that word for me.
Words.
For me. So when I got to that place, no, I can see myself different because even me, I can even walk.
Wow.
Yeah, I can even walk. So I just sat one day and then asked myself, well, Evelyn, if you can walk, and what of those in the wheelchair that they can't even move, they can't even push themselves unless someone push them. So you are having much opportunity and more opportunity more than them. So you need to be this thing. So through all those things, when I got there, I was like, things were moving all right. I was all moving. Everything was just moving. When I completed school, because of what I've been doing, my Reverend Father said, Evelyn, you are not a person with disability.
Yeah.
You are an able person.
You're able person.
But you are not a person with disability. Even when I got pregnant, I have to hide it from my dad. Because they never thought I'll be pregnant. All of them, they know.
Was it because they had the rationale that persons with disability can't be in romantic or you can't have a boyfriend, or because the word you use that you don't like people to use it because you don't deserve love?
For that one, it is true, because one is that my dad is like, when I go in and work, all the money is for the family.
Okay.
I don't have a baby, I don't have anything doing. So all the money is for the family. So when I got pregnant, they were like, can I give birth at all? That is what they are asking themselves. Even the guy that I'm staying with, the mom even asked, can this lady give birth? So when I got pregnant, I have to snap pictures for people to know that I got pregnant myself. But they did CS for me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I was operated.
And it was successful.
Yeah, very successful. Everything.
So everybody deserves love regardless of your
One of the things we need to realize very well is that we are all human beings.
Yeah.
Blood is flowing through all of us. The same feeling we have is the same feeling they are having as well. When you pinch her, she would feel the exact same thing. When you pinch me, I will feel.
Yeah.
So talking about love, she has feelings, I have feelings. Yeah. If I see someone and I'm crushing on the person, she can see the person
and do same.
Exactly. So I don't understand where all these things are coming from. They just don't want to normalize it.
It's a society.
Exactly. How society sees some of these things. It's very bad.
Yeah. But let's look at this. The word gender and then disability itself. Being a female and then living with disability, how is the intersection like? How do people see you? You know that women are seen as vulnerable.
Exactly.
And being a vulnerable person already disadvantages you. And then you know what I'm talking about. You're a lady, you're living with disability, people can easily abuse you. What are some of the things that you've seen around? Some of the things that people living with disability have encountered or faced when it comes to...
I would say this word always, that I will use myself because I am a victim.
Yeah.
Since I have been dating my guy, I've never heard him say, Evelyn, me ferry say me no be pay. I've never heard, because I've been bringing out money. But immediately I got pregnant. Then he's like, me ferry, I've been to hospital the whole of that 9 months. I've been to hospital alone. Yeah, I've break up with my guy because he's not realizing that I'm a person with disability. He said, no, Evelyn, me ferry say me no be pay. Me ferry say me pay. Someone who say I've given birth with a person living
Person
with
living with
disability. So
it
he
means
came.
that stigma, or it already puts you on that radar,
Yeah.
say that you are not fit for
him.
Oh.
But later on, he came in again to tell me that he want me to wait for him, but on one condition, that we will be there, but we can't work together in public.
Then what's
So
the
what's the-
essence
and
of
I
the
asked-
relationship?
I want to buttress on what she's saying.
Yeah.
She made known of the fact that the guy was interested.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Because she was releasing money.
Money. So
Yeah, because she
when
was
she
asking,
stopped or when she got
when you are
pregnant,
vulnerable,
Yes.
you also happen to be, let's say you are a disabled person, you
Yeah.
also happen to be a female.
yeah,
People treat you as a mat
Yeah.
to work on.
exactly.
See, so that's one of the pegs that come to this. The
Yeah.
guy was just trying to take advantage of yourself because you are producing money, you are
Yeah.
paying for the money for you to enjoy.
And when the money stopped coming,
Stop coming. Now you said it. Now it's
Yeah.
like he has realized that
You are
living with disability. You are, so these are some of the pegs that comes with being a female and also happen to be disabled as well.
yeah,
See, as I said at the beginning, it all boils down to how the Ghanaian mindset is. Let me go, or I dare say the African mindset is. We are all one. We
yeah,
are all a part of it. No one is excluded.
excluded.
We were born into that culture, we were
Yes.
born into that mindset. So that's how we are. So it's very difficult for us to emancipate ourselves from such thinking. You get, so it will take a lot of advocacy, like what we are doing, to
Yeah.
reach out to the general public and let them understand that being disabled doesn't mean you are not able.
Yeah.
You can do a lot of stuff even being disabled. Recently, the valedictorian for I think was a disabled person.
Yes.
He completed with a 4.0 GPA.
Wow.
Myself, where I am able in this thing, I'm privileged to be able everywhere. I can't sit here and say I have a 4.0 GPA. What stopped me from getting a 4.0 GPA? So you realize that being disabled doesn't disenfranchise
Tries
you
you
from achieving your best.
your goals, yeah.
Your priest said it. I stand to be correct. There was your priest.
Your
But
reverend
you-
father.
Yeah.
You are doing steps that show that you are not disabled.
Disabled, yeah.
You get it. So being disabled in any way doesn't mean you are not able to do stuff. So we have to emancipate ourselves, and that's why we are here, seated here together, advocating for such rights and advocating to make everyone aware of this very fact. So Jemima,
Yeah.
that's what I have to say.
Yeah.
So already, just like Jemima said, females are seen as inferior,
Vulnerable
human beings,
ones in
vulnerable,
society.
exactly, and already the gender is seen as, the sex. Let me use the sex
Yeah.
because a male and female sex. The sex is already seen as people who are so inferior, vulnerable, and disability in addition makes it something
The
else.
whole burden.
Yes, exactly. You being a female already, some people do not want to give you that opportunity or the chance to, for instance, family planning. For instance, the man wants to do everything by himself. He
yeah.
doesn't want the lady or the female to
have a say.
Exactly, have a say or contribute to anything.
Yeah.
Here lies the case where you are a female and then you are disabled. Where are you getting that chance?
Yeah.
This is what we need to realize, that being a female is not we being inferior or maybe
We are not seen. We shouldn't be seen as weak.
not
We shouldn't be
at
seen
all.
as weak,
And being disabled too doesn't mean we are not human beings. We are human beings. Blood flows through all of us, and what the man can do, we can also do. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
And
What
do
the
better.
man exactly say again?
And do better.
We can do better. So
No, you
if they are
cannot
making
just
decisions,
do and do better.
if they are making decisions for family planning and all those stuff, we should be able to do that, as
Yeah.
well as the disabled
Yeah.
people.
So if you have a partner, you should be able to sit with the partner and then agree. It should be consensual. You should be able to decide. It should be from both of you. Shouldn't be one party agreeing to something and the other. Now let's see the way forward. What are we looking forward to see policymakers do in terms of accessibility when it comes to information, people living with disability, and that gender too has come to play. if we don't have access to these things, what does it mean for us, even as a society or as a country? What do we have to say to the policymakers? The implementation, implementation is so poor when it comes to the policies are there, but what are the implementation methods? Are we following it strictly? No. I remember in school when I was taking one of the disability courses, our lecturer made mention that even it's in one of the disability policies that when a disabled person is boarding a car, at least 2 seats should be left, like for the person to board or to sit. But where do you sit? Well, you sit with a disabled person in the physically challenged person in the church or any commercial car, and you're even expecting the person to shift more. So I want to hear from you guys. What do we expect from this policy makers? What's the way forward for us now that we've realized the problems? What are our contributive issues that we want them to work on or actions to be taken on?
So in as much as we have policies, just like you say, there should be rules that are so stem on implementation.
Yeah.
So the policymakers should make sure that even with the implementation of everything, there should be a strict rule, and maybe a penalty people must pay. A penalty people must pay, going against the rules and then the guidelines. That's all I have to say.
Well, I have 1 or 2, 3 critical stuff to talk about.
Okay.
One of the reasons why normally implementation is an issue is because, as I stated earlier, if I did not, I'm sorry, is the people implementing the policy or drafting the policy have little to no idea of the issues or the predicament of those who are disabled. So they happen to draft policies which are totally diverse, like haywire, different from the issues at hand. So the way forward, they should at least not just have a stakeholder meeting, but normally in Ghana, when drafting policies, they should come down to the grassroots, have something similar to the community manifesto that TV3 had.
Yeah.
Speak to people and
pick the issues. Yeah.
Yes. Sometimes it costs, but the end result is
far way better.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they should involve the people who are disabled in decision making.
Yeah.
Those who are physically challenged, they should involve them in decision making rather than just sitting down in our ACs and everything, comfortable living and drafting down policies that do not. Because sometimes the policies can be the best, but implementing them is an issue.
It's an issue. That has been our problem since time immemorial in Ghana.
Exactly. And implementing is an issue because how are you going to implement something that is not relatable? It's like implementing it is creating more issues. Why? Because it's not relatable.
Yeah.
So you should draft policies that are relatable, so implementing them will become easy.
Yeah. Evelyn, especially in the area of reproductive health, when it comes to accessibility, what's the way forward? What do you think that policies should look at? The policies we already have, how should the implementation be reinforced in Ghana in the area of reproductive health when it comes to people living with disability?
Like what Precious said.
Yeah.
There should be law and a hard law for that.
Okay.
Because I've been to the hospital and I even fought with one of the nurses over there. Because what Alan just said, you just make a law without us. You don't know what we want.
Yeah.
You just go in, say whatever you want to say. Because we are not in, you don't know what we want.
It's just like nothing about us without us, and you are doing it without us. Yeah.
You said something earlier on that there is a law that when a person with disability is going to board a car,
commercial car,
2
seats at least.
Yeah.
It's stipulated in the constitution.
Yeah. I also learned something that when a person with disability is going to a gathering and there is a queue, he shouldn't stand in the queue.
In the queue, yeah.
But to me, Evelyn,
it has never happened.
I don't want to be that, because when you go there and let's say you want to, somebody is going to use, then they will use it, because they use it for me before. They won't in the line to use it. So I went to the hospital. I was in a queue. Immediately it's my turn. Then the nurse said, "What's nothing, my friend?" And I said, "Why do you talk to me like that? Can you talk to another person else?"
Like that, yeah.
Obi oye straight say, "Ubeti mini na kasasa." Mba say ya, na mudi muyare ni ye. Nah. There should be a law that when even that person does that thing to you, you can then if you report that person, there should be a street punishment.
Yeah.
If there's a street punishment, no one is going to be
Okay.
So the law should be very, very strict and should be very hard.
Yeah. Let me have my last words from Alan. Alan, let's hear from you.
Yeah, I wanted to add on to what she's saying about the nurse and the medical practitioners.
Yeah.
Normally, when they are being taught, they are not taught how to handle.
But it's part of their. It's ethical.
Oh. Okay. I retract my statement. So it's ethical.
Yes, it's part of everything.
But normally they don't pay.
It's just like implementation. How do we handle these situations in the hospital setting? Exactly. Are we even ready?
Exactly. Exactly. So they should do better, especially with reception and how to receive people who are
clients.
They should do better. Our nurses should be more receptive. They should be more understanding. They should be more open. Our doctors should be very diverse.
Compassionate.
They shouldn't just restrict themselves, because how an able person come, you attend to them nicely, and someone who is
physically challenged,
then you tell the person to go and sit down. Why? Because you feel the person is less. I think we should encourage this among our medical practitioners.
Yeah,
we should encourage that among them so that they know what's right. I can just.
Precious, let's hear some last words from you.
Because we've already hammered on a lot of things. So.
Yeah. Evelyn, would you like to say some last words? And we have it. I
want to say this last thing, as I stated earlier. Being disabled doesn't mean you are not able.
Okay.
Let's press on. Sometimes you might be disabled in your arms or in your legs, but your hands are able. Find something to do. Don't let anyone talk you down. Don't let anyone talk you down. As I said earlier, there's a disabled person or a physically challenged person who graduated from the University of Ghana as the best student throughout 4.0 GPA.
Yeah.
Look at them. It's not easy.
It's not easy.
I tell you the truth, it's not easy. We are there, and to do that, because there are a lot of barriers, but yes, we saw how in the midst of all those, he came out strong, he came out victorious. So not being able doesn't mean, not being disabled does not mean you are not able. So please do better.
Thank you all, and thank you for your insightful information and conversation. And we've all learned about a few things about people living with disability and some of the challenges they face. You've been hearing or listening to the Empowered Choices podcast, brought to you right from the Yenkasa Digital Studio podcast studio. And don't forget to follow us at Yenkasa Ghana and on YouTube, PPAG Ghana. Thank you, and see you again.
Stand by me. Stand by me. That's right. PPAG. That's sexual health for quality life, y'all.